But this story is about a dad who I guess was on a road trip with his two young daughters. And these are like little girls, probably under the age of 10. And dad found himself in a situation where he had to stop at a gas station or a rest stop or someplace to fill up, and his little girls needed to go to the bathroom, which little kids will do when you're on these long road trips, right? So dad, I guess, tries the men's room, and it's just him. It's him and the two girls. Now, I don't know if there's a mom around, if mom was in the car. Maybe it was just dad and the two girls. But dad was tasked with taking these two girls to the bathroom. He goes to the men's room, and according to dad, there's a bunch of guys in there. Well, of course, it's the men's room, right? But not feeling super comfortable about taking his daughters into a heavily crowded men's room with strangers. And by the way, men's rooms, disgusting, especially at gas stations, except for Buc-ee's. They got the best and cleanest gas or toilet anywhere, right? Right. So dad, I guess, knocks on the ladies' room door. Nobody in there. Goes in with his little girls. Nobody's in there. They do their thing. And as he's finishing up with them and they're washing their hands, which good for them for washing their hands, some jerk on a cell phone comes in, and it's a guy, and apparently he starts yelling at this father because he's in the ladies' room with his two little girls. And he's not just yelling at the guy, he's on the phone with 911. This guy called 911 because a dad and his two little girls were in the ladies' room and nobody else was in there. What possesses somebody to think, A, is it any of your business that a dad and his two little girls are in this bath? No, it's not your business. If you got a problem, go to the store manager. Say, hey, there's a guy in the ladies' room with two little girls. Let them take care of it. It's not your job. And second of all, 911? You're calling the cops for that? Now, if you'd walked into the ladies' room and you saw just a guy in there by himself, okay, maybe you make a stink. But clearly he was in there with the two little girls. You knew what he was doing. But this guy was just being an obstinate ass and decided to escalate things. Well, the cops showed up and they de-escalated the situation and everything was fine. But of course, this video goes viral. You know, the dad with the little girls, when he's in there, and that's the way the world is now, like it or leave it, but whatever it is, when something like this happens, people start rolling video on their phone because they want to capture it. So dad got this guy, oh, by the way, the guy who was on the phone calling 911 was also in the ladies' room. This guy who called 911 lost his job. It went viral, and the real estate company that he worked for, saw this, caught wind of it. He's out of a gig. All because he just tried to ridicule and target this dad who took all the precautions. In my view, he did nothing wrong. He knocked on the door. There was nobody in there. He went in. He took care of it. They were gone. I wouldn't want to take my two little girls into a busy men's room at a truck stop or wherever they were. That's insane. Just give them a little grace. But you call 911? I mean, I'm not saying the guy deserves to have his job taken away from him, but come on. You can't do anything like this anymore and not expect some sort of blowback, especially, the minute that it goes on social media, you are just screwed. You are screwed. But I couldn't believe that. Police ultimately asked the guy who was doing the complaining to leave the store. And then they approached this dad and his two girls and said, everything's fine. You don't need to be scared. Because the girls at some point were like in tears because this guy they didn't know was yelling at them. I just don't understand what possesses somebody like that to do such a thing. Paul in Fairborn. What's up, Paul?
Hey, Todd, long time. Been a while since I got to talk to you.
Yeah.
Hey, but I ran in kind of a similar situation. There was one time, I tell you what this guy should have done when he came out of the bathroom door, or that guy came in screaming at him. There was one time I was going down the road and I had to go to the bathroom and I stopped in at a Speedway. Well, the bathrooms are identical, the same. Men's door was locked. So I went into the women's bathroom because I had to go.
Yeah, all right.
When I came out, there was a guy looking at me. I said, it's okay. I identify as a woman.
Oh, well, there you go. You got away with it. That's right. You can't say anything about it. Yes.
Exactly. So if that guy would have came in screaming and hollering, I'd be like, look, I identify as a woman. I'm their mother.
But isn't that just crazy, though, that someone would feel so possessed that I can understand. On the one hand, if you walk in there, like maybe this guy's wife walks in there and there's a guy in there, that would be disconcerting. But once you realize that he's in there with two little girls, exactly. you're just okay, all right, that's fine, let it go. But no, this guy, had to make a point and calls 911.
Exactly. And that's just so retarded because if, let's say, my wife would have walked in there and she would have seen that guy there and he would have said, I'm sorry, but, my little girls, my wife would have said, okay, no problem. I'll watch the door for you.
Yeah.
But some people have just got to do something, I guess, because they have nothing in their life better to do, so they got to feel important.
I guess.
Anyways, good talking to you, Todd.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate your call, buddy.